So Small is kind of it's a feeling song, and it talks about when, people invest so much of their time and so much of their energy and efforts into things that really aren't important. And, you don't really realize that until it's too late. So it's just kind of about, sometimes the things that we blow up in our minds are just tiny, and they're small and insignificant. We decided to go with So Small to be the first single on the second album, on the new album. The first single really does help set the tone of the whole album, and So Small is, a little bit more grown up and a little bit more serious, as far as, I really am basically singing about myself, and I'm singing about everybody else too. It just has a great message, and I think a lot of people can really relate to it. I know I can relate to it. I, was one of the writers on the song, so it's amazing for me to have something that is, poignant and serious and thoughtful, out there, that I had a hand in writing, so people can really relate to it. And I think in another sense relate to me. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. I think, the whole experience through Some Hearts has really allowed me to grow in pretty much every way. I mean, I'm 2 years older, so anybody within 2 years is going to, grow a lot as a person. I do feel like I'm a better performer on stage. I do feel like I'm a better, singer now because I've had so much practice. So, I don't even think you can really compare, the Carrie now to the Carrie when, the first album began, because there's just been so much, life that's been lived in between, the first and the second album. So many people kept, asking me, how are you going to top the first album? How are you going to, sell more, have more singles, or have more #1s or whatever? And I think it was just really important for me to go into the studio and to go into writing and, and listening to songs and everything, to really not, have specific plans for the album, just kind of see where it took me and see what kinds of songs that I knew I loved and knew I wanted, and then build around that. If it felt like something that I myself was comfortable with, whether it was serious, whether it was silly, whether it's kind of, sassy, if it's fun for me and I like it and I'm good with it, let's go with it, And I think there's something to be said about that. I think, people in the long run, in the long run, will actually appreciate that because I'm staying true to myself. Get Out of This Town is the one word. If I had to describe it in one word, I'd say free. I totally picture being in a convertible, top down, stars are beautiful, and you're out of there. You packed up your stuff, or you didn't even pack up your stuff, you just left. And it's free and it's fun, and I think it's going to be great to perform on stage. And it's got a young spirited message, just being reckless. I think the great thing about this album is it's kind of everywhere. We have some serious heavy songs, that I think a lot of people can relate to. There's some goofy songs that, are just going to be really fun to get on stage and sing, and, sing in the car as you're driving down the road. I think we got some of those. We have, some sweet songs and happy songs, and I just think we have a couple of every kind of song that you could have.
Moving into the second album, being that she'd been in the studio before, there's just more confidence. She had a much better idea what she wanted, just in picking songs. She knew how to talk about what she wanted to say on the songs. So she was much more vocal on picking songs. She is warm and fun and funny, and I think that that's going to be more deeply expressed on this album.
Everybody has all these different layers to them and different levels to them, and I just think it's great that we can, I can pick a lot of songs, and I can write some songs that display that people get a sense of my goofy side and my serious side, and I mainly try to pick songs that I know I would love to listen to and that I know I could relate to. The fans were definitely a huge part of the making of this second album. You know, we constantly try to think of who we're appealing to, and you get those faces in your mind, and you get those particular fans that, you know, the little kids that are singing, you know, I Ain't in Dakota Anymore are going to love, you know, these songs, and the people that, you know, I saw they're singing Jesus Take the Wheel, they're going to love this particular group of songs. So they're always with us, and we always try to keep them in mind, of course, who we're trying to appeal to. And, you know, I really wanted, you know, my second album to be not better, but just something new and something that they could really grasp onto, and something that, you know, in a few months' time, I can see people out there singing all the words to all those songs. I thought it would be great to try to write. I didn't really know if I, you know, had the skills. That's a completely different talent on its own. But I always thought it would be nice to go in, and because, you know, I feel like singing things, if you really did have a huge hand in, you know, making those words beautiful and making them sound beautiful in a song, it would just mean so much more to go out on stage and perform that, because it's another part of you that you get to share with the world. Well, I was fortunate enough to have some really, really amazing writers on the first album. And in picking their songs and in listening to their songs, I got the opportunity to meet, you know, a lot of really great people. So we kind of stuck to a lot of the people that wrote on the first album. We decided to get a lot of the songwriters that, you know, I had worked with and hadn't worked with, and just several, 12 people together in one place, and have this writer's retreat where we just hang out for 3 days, pretty much all day, and just see what comes out of it. You know, we get to know each other, we hang out, we write songs, we, you know, have lunch together, we all talk, we goof around, we switch partners, and, you know, there's 2 people writing, there's 3 people writing, whatever. We decided to do that at the Ryman, which, you know, of course, is the most famous former home of the Grand Ole Opry. So what an inspiring place to get together and do that. And it's almost, you know, magic when you get together, and, you know, there were people writing on the stage, and there were people writing in the dressing rooms, and it's like all the people that had been on that stage before, and the girls that you could imagine, you know, the women of country music that paved the way for me to do what I do, you know, getting ready in those dressing rooms. And it's just a place, I think, that would give anyone inspiration. You know, all the people that came before you, all the people that stood on that stage with such talent and such grace, and, you know, fans, and it really is a very magical place, a very inspiring place. So we thought, hey, let's get everybody together. And we split off into groups, and I bounced around from group to group, and, you know, would let people know if I love this idea, this sounds great, or this melody is awesome, this is totally something that I would do, and we just decided to see what we came up with.
This is not a situation where she's just sitting in a room and watching writers write. She's in there. She's with the song, and she's writing the song as a normal songwriter. She's putting on a different hat, so to speak.
So I got to go in and, you know, really get in there and find out how they did things, and, you know, contribute as much as I could and learn as much as I could from them, and in that, you know, find my own writing style. And it was just so great to get in there and you know, just be with the best and see how they do it and see what came out of it. And I think we got some really amazing songs. The main purpose of us getting together at the Ryman really was for people to get to know me a little bit better. You know, when we were looking for songs for the first album, we kind of just put it out there, like, hey, Carrie Underwood needs songs, go. So I think it really helped them get to know me, and as far as, you know, what I do have to offer, and, you know, I love to contribute, but they are the writers. They're the people that really know what they're doing. So, you know, they're not going to tell me how to sing. I'm not going to tell them how to write. So I go in and contribute as much as I can without, you know, trying to dictate the way things